All right. Good morning, everybody. We're going to call this meeting to order. I have something to read here. I'm Tom Kane. I call to order the meeting of the Executive Committee of the Economic Development Council. Note that a quorum is present, and note that the meeting was publicly posted. Again, I want to thank the mayor and his staff for accommodating us on such short notice. This venue will allow us to provide the interested public, including current and past board members, real-time virtual attendance via the county's YouTube channel, which we cannot practically provide at our usual venue. This meeting is being held as an open meeting under Governor Lee's Executive Order number 16, as extended by number 34, and is being broadcast live in lieu of the public's in-person attendance to limit gatherings that may further the spread of COVID-19. Attendees are limited to current board members of the EDC, legal counsel, and essential administrative staff. Anyone given the floor to speak at this meeting must be recognized by me, the chair, speak into a microphone, and announce their name and which entity they serve. Very official. All right, good morning. We have a busy agenda, and some of the agenda items are going to be pended until the full board, but let's just move through this best possible speed. We're going to start with reviewing the prior meeting minutes from May 29th, 2020. It was in your packet. I hope you've had an opportunity to review it. If so, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Kyle Luther made the motion.
Second.
Jay Alberti a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. The financial report. Shannon, do you have a financial report for us? There you go.
Yes, sir. I have a report that was sent to the board in advance. It hasn't changed since that. The report has an executive summary on it outlining noteworthy items. Things that have changed since the last report are underlined. If I could abbreviate this, this is our report through the month of May, and I want to point your attention. There are other noteworthy things in here, but in summary, if you look at the last page of the summary, you can see that is page 3. You can see a projection for year end. We're looking at, because of the vacancy of the CEO position, about around almost $100,000 in savings. However, as you're familiar with the EDC financial report, that's not going to be a net income to the EDC. It is recognized by the member entities real time, since everything is on a reimbursement basis, dollar for dollar. So that is realized 1/3 apiece to each. There's also, as you'll notice at the bottom line, a net loss shown for over $100,000. That is representing the use of CBID reserve fund for CBID P&D committee operations that were authorized in their budget. Subject to your questions, that's your financial report through May 2020.
Are there any questions from the floor? If not, I assume we need a motion to approve the financials?
To accept, yes.
That was the recommendation by the, all right, we need a second. Second? And who are you? Say it into the microphone.
His microphone.
It's not, you got to turn on.
Jeff Turner, IDB.
There you go, thank you very much. We have a motion from the committee, a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We also have a fiscal year 20 budget amendment. Shannon, what's that all about?
Yeah, yes, sir. In light of the significant budget savings for the year and becoming aware of some unbudgeted items, I'm putting before you a recommendation to amend the FY20 budget for two things. There's a page that's actually stapled to the back of your financial report. It's a one-page report. One for information technology. As you may recall, we made some provisions in the FY21 budget to replace some Windows 7 devices that have been abandoned support by Microsoft. But as we were going to implement those, we discovered a domino effect of other issues. Our server is running an old version of SQL. We need to replace that hardware as well. That is going to come at a cost of $13,000, including labor. Out of the $100,000 in savings, we recommend that you approve spending that in the way of an amendment. Then also legal expenses. We've been using Tim Harvey, the county's attorney, to help us through the governing documents and also one other legal matter through the year. That was not a budgeted item. So what we estimate that could be in the neighborhood of $20,000 an hour by year end. It's maybe a high estimate, but we didn't want to seek too little in the way of amendment, not knowing what the real number is. But that is recommended for a total of $33,000 out of the $100,000 as an amendment for the FY20 budget.
Thank you, Shannon. Any questions? We need a motion to approve the budget amendment as presented by Shannon.
J. Alberti of Chamber, motion to approve.
Thank you, Jay. Second? Jenna, second. We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Can I ask a question?
Wait,
One
wait,
quick
wait,
question.
wait, we have a
So
question.
this is an amendment to the 20,
Correct.
not the 21. So we're going, this is
Correct.
going to be in the 20 year.
It will, between now and June 30.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, that's for this fiscal year, the fiscal year 2020. All right, again, I'll call for the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Next is the line item budget.
Apologize, I'm not going to have this on the screen, but it is in your materials and it was sent to you in advance. The Finance Committee met yesterday and they'll have a recommendation for you in a moment. But that material shows that back in February, the board authorized the Executive Committee to adopt a line item budget. The member entities needed an overall budget for their budgeting process. But in light of the resignation of the CEO and the many changes that were proposed or considered for FY21, they weren't going to be able to produce that line item budget. So the justification for the number they came up with is outlined at the front, the Finance Committee's report. They took a 1.6% increase for the year, which is the 10-year average on the EDC's budget, and they acknowledge that the IT investment for the Windows 7 devices and then also the new accounting position that was added at mid-year, that came to a number of $934,000, an 8.6% increase. Again, that was approved by the board, but then they authorized the Executive Committee to do the line item budget. That report is before you, of line item of what is recommended. That is also going to be a needed item for the budget agreement that is to be considered later in this morning's meetings. I feel inclined to go line item by line item because you just got it yesterday. The Finance Committee had a little more time, but for sake of time, I'll really just touch on a few the more important. The legal services, we didn't have it in the budget. We were doing pro bono work with our prior legal counsel, so that's a new item. We are speculating that we can get a retainer agreement where the attorney would just simply report to meetings as needed and do some cursory look at review of language, but anything be above that, if there's projects, anything we ask them to do, there'll be an agreed upon rate. So that is speculative. We haven't gone through an RFP process yet, but anticipate that that is something we need to do. One of the big issues that we need to concern ourselves when we talk about FY21 budget is what do we do with the vacant position, the CEO position. That is still something undetermined. The documents that are being considered is we'll have a professional in that position. This budget assumes that we will have an executive search firm to seek and obtain that position and then pay market rate. We still, though, are falling within that 1.6% operating budget as proposed here. So all those assumptions are just that. The reality could be different, but that's the plan and included in this budget. I'm looking for other noteworthy items. You'll see, though, there was an addition to the line at the bottom that it represents what's called dedicated focus area staffing expenses. If the proposed budget agreement is adopted for FY '21, it requires us to include all the salaries, benefits, and taxes of the member entities as well, and that's what is represented by that number. If it doesn't go forward, then the number above that, which is split 1/3 apiece, is what is to be included in the ongoing agreement, unless, of course, somehow amended. So the total budget for operating the EDC would be $934,000. With the salaries, benefits, taxes of member entities, it'll be a total of $2.3 million. That's your budget out of the Finance Committee, and Chairman Kyle Luther has a recommendation out of the Finance Committee.
Yes, Kyle Luther with the CVB. The Finance Committee met yesterday with 3 of the 4 members present, and it was voted to recommend this to the EDC Executive Committee.
All right, thank you, Kyle. So we have a motion made by the Finance Committee. Do I have a second?
Paul Turner, Chamber. I'll second.
Thank you, Paul. Any questions before we call for the motion or for the approval? No questions? Then I'll ask for a motion to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Moving on. The next item on our agenda is the EDC governing documents, and I would like to pen both of those items, the contract and the bylaws, till the full board meeting, because we're going to talk about it here, then we're going to talk about it there. I'd rather not talk about it twice. Can we just move that to the full board meeting? Does anybody have any issues with that? Since we're running a little bit late, that would help. All right. That being said, thank you very much. We're going to do that. The next item on the agenda is the CBID business. Suzanne, since I have you sitting next to me and you're on the committee, can you bring us up to speed on where we are with that?
Yes. The CBID Planning and Development Committee met. There is 2 action items that are required. We did seat our committee for the next year. I think you've been provided with that information. There are 11 members. Daniel Binkley is chair. There's ex officio members there, and also there's some consultants and other support. So the committee recommends that this slate of officers be accepted for our committee.
All right. Thank you very much. I think we need a motion for this, Shannon?
That's correct, and I'll just point out, these are the current slate. It represents the interim members right now, with the exception of the addition of 1 member. I need to scroll
Maria
down.
Haycraft.
Right,
From-
Mayor Haycraft from ArtLink Clarksville.
All righty. So I entertain a motion to approve this slate of board members for the CBID, committee members.
Kyle Luther with the CVB. I make a motion for approval.
Thank you, Kyle. Do I have a second?
Jay Alberti, Chamber, second.
And we have a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. The next thing is the Roxy Emergency Loan. Suzanne?
Yes. You may recall that we were approached, the CBID committee was approached regarding the Roxy when this pandemic hit. The Roxy's, really suffered because they've not been able to do any performances, and so as a result, we agreed to provide them up to $50,000 as needed. They did seek PPP funding, which they received. We have given them $15,000 as a grant, but the action that we required, that we voted on, which is requiring a resolution from this body, concerns the additional $35,000. We would like to provide that in a way of a loan to them for 1 year at 0%. That will give them time to hopefully get through this, and also will be reimbursed once. The plan is that their facilities will be sold to the city. That hasn't happened yet. They anticipate it will happen at some point in the future. So that's where the loan will be repaid from. So the resolution that's in your packet details that, and we recommend that the resolution be adopted.
Thank you, Suzanne. So we would need a motion to approve this resolution. So I need a motion, please.
I have a question really quick.
Sure.
Paul Turner Chamber, is it the 35 that's paid back or the full 50?
35.
Okay, that's what I thought, okay.
All right. Any other questions? If not, I'm looking for a motion to approve this resolution.
Kyle Luther with the CVB. I make a motion for approval.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Jeff Turner, IDB. I second the motion.
We have a first, we have a second. Any other discussion? If not, if you approve, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Suzanne. Moving forward, the next thing on the agenda is the EDC officer positions. The nominating committee, made up of the past chairs of each of the entities, met yesterday afternoon to discuss the next chair-elect for the EDC and the secretary-treasurer position. And the committee voted to recommend Jenna Holloman as the new chair-elect and Kyle Luther as the treasurer for the fiscal year 2021. Congratulations for your nominations. I know you're thrilled. So, that being said,
Mr. Chairman, can I just add that
Sure.
The nominating committee established the bylaws made up of the past chairs of each of the member entities, and they have to elect from the executive committee members. There are only a few people that actually have enough term left to fulfill some of those obligations, that those nominations. So that's just part of the process, and I wanted to share that with the committee as they decide.
thank you, Shannon. So, I assume I need a motion for this too? Shannon?
Yes, election from this body.
Election from this body. So, those are our candidates, Jenna Holloman and Kyle Luther. Can I have a motion to approve?
Paul Turner Chamber, I'll motion.
Okay. We have a first. Anybody second?
Jay Alberti at Chamber, second.
We're first and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? No? All right. One other quick piece of business. We have a EDC signature card when we have new people coming in, and Suzanne is the incoming chair, so we need to add her to the list. Suzanne, Kyle as the secretary-treasurer or the treasurer, and who else is on that signature card? Shannon, you are probably, right? So I just need a motion to approve the EDC signature card update. Suzanne, Kyle, and Shannon.
Jenna Holloman, CVB, so moved.
Second.
Paul Turner
Thanks,
Chamber, I'll
Paul.
second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? All right. The next item on the agenda is the interim legal counsel. A couple of weeks ago, when we were dealing with some issues, I sent out an email because we knew we were going to have some billable hours by Tim Harvey, and we did approve to have Tim be our interim attorney or counsel. And what we need to do is just ratify that today, that I'm not sure how long the interim title is going to hold, but we certainly have some billable hours we're going to have to deal with, and we just want to make sure that this body approves of Tim Harvey as our attorney. Did I miss anything in that, Shannon?
No, sir.
No. All right, so I need a motion to appoint Tim Harvey as our interim legal counsel.
Kyle Luther with the CVB. I make a motion.
Kyle, thank you.
Keith Bennett with the Chamber, I'll second.
Keith, thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? No? Thank you very much. And the last item on our agenda is the next EDC Executive Committee meeting. We had left Friday open on the agenda for potentially discussing the next step in this, and then would be the job description for the president CEO of the EDC. Now, we can keep that meeting, or we can kick it down the road for a week. It's certainly at your pleasure if we want to meet again Friday morning, or we want to wait until next Friday morning. Is there any preference by the board, the executive committee, I should say? Can I recommend that we kick it down the road for a week and just not do it this Friday, but doing the following Friday? All right. Let's just make that, the next meeting will be, I don't know what that date is, but Shannon, the 26th. Shannon will send out the meeting invite and post that. Do we have anything else to come in front of the executive committee today? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Wait a minute, I'm going to check. Shannon? We're good. Checked all the boxes? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the executive committee.
Jenna Holloman, CVB, is moved.
We have a first?
Suzanne Langford, IDB, second.
I have a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. We are adjourned.